This is Mac OS Ken.
Let us get lust in wonder. I mean lost. It is Wednesday, the 13th of September, 2023. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. 2 new watches and 4 new phones made up the bulk of Apple's Wonderlust event. New to the fold are Apple Watch Series 9, Apple Watch Ultra 2, iPhone 15, iPhone 15 Plus, iPhone 15 Pro, and iPhone 15 Pro Max. Let's start with the watches and go from there. The press release on Apple Watch Series 9 touts a new level of power thanks to the chronometer's new S9 SIP, or System in a Package, that helps power a more responsive Siri. According to the company, for the first time on Apple Watch, Siri requests can be processed on device. For requests that don't require information from the internet, such as starting a workout or setting a timer, Siri does not rely on Wi-Fi or cellular networks, resulting in quicker and more reliable responses. Additionally, the company says dictation on the device is faster and up to 25% more accurate than Apple Watch Series 8. It's got a display that's both brighter and dimmer, apparently. In full sun, the screen can brighten up to 2,000 nits, double the 1,000 nits as seen on Series 8. For lower light settings, the display can drop to just 1 nit, leaving those around you undisturbed. Other fun features include precision finding for iPhone, better integration with HomePod, access to health info through Siri. And have you heard about the double tap gesture? According to Apple, with the new double tap gesture, users can easily control Apple Watch Series 9 using just one hand and without touching the display. Users can tap the index finger and thumb of their watch hand together twice to quickly and conveniently perform many of the most common actions on Apple Watch Series 9. Those include answering a call, starting or stopping audio, starting or stopping a timer. Basically, if you can do it by tapping a button on your watch face, you can do it with double tap gestures. So, do you need Apple Watch Series 9? Well, it depends. I mean, do you? On the Apple Watch Series 9, iDownload blog says the Apple Watch Series 9 offers a minor spec bump over the Apple Watch Series 8, with some of the core new features being a display that's twice as bright, upgraded processor and wireless chips, and double the internal storage. On we go now to Apple Watch Ultra 2. Apple's press release on that one touts a lot of the same changes touted for Apple Watch Series 9. Those include the S9 SIP, the brighter display, double tap gesture, on-device Siri, and precision finding for iPhone. Calling it an incremental upgrade from the original, iDownload blog says the Apple Watch Ultra 2 is a lot like the original Apple Watch Ultra, except that you get a brighter display, improved ultra-wideband support, a new tap gesture, a new watch face, and bumped up specs. As had been predicted, Apple's commitment to environmental initiatives was finely woven throughout the Wonderlust event. That included a first for Apple's timepieces. According to the releases for both new watches, select case and band combinations of Apple Watch Ultra 2, Apple Watch SE, and the new Apple Watch Series 9 are Apple's first ever carbon-neutral products. As part of Apple 2030, the company says, the carbon footprint of the watches has been significantly decreased. Emissions were reduced from the 3 biggest sources of greenhouse gases: materials, electricity, and transportation. Apple Watch packaging has been redesigned to be 100% fiber-based, and a new logo on the packaging indicates models that are carbon neutral. Apple Watch Series 9 starts at $399 in the US. Apple Watch Ultra 2 keeps last year's price of $799. Orders started Tuesday afternoon. Delivery and in-store availability are set to hit in a little over a week on Friday, the 22nd of September. Before we hit more hardware, there was a lot of eco-messaging in the Wonderlust event, as I say. One part, though, was particularly impactful. Tim Cook, Lisa Jackson, and truth be told actor Octavia Spencer played leads in a sketch that had Mother Nature, played by Spencer, visiting Apple to quiz the company on its treatment of the planet. And it was funny. Not just, that's a funny idea. It got the points across, but there were a couple of genuine laughs that still stick out to me. If you've not seen the event, seek out that part at least. It was funny. Let's go to the phones. We all knew all year that two things were going to happen with the iPhone 15 line. One of them did. The PR speak in Apple's press release on iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Plus calls the phones a huge leap forward for iPhone with a gorgeous new design featuring a durable, color-infused back glass and new contoured edge, the dynamic island, a 48-megapixel main camera with 2x telephoto, and USB-C. We all knew all year that the iPhone line was getting USB-C, and it's been got. On the new connector, Apple's press release says both models of iPhone use a USB-C connector, a universally accepted standard for charging and transferring data, allowing the same cable to charge iPhone, Mac, iPad, and the updated AirPods Pro 2nd generation. Users can also charge AirPods or Apple Watch directly from iPhone with the USB-C connector. Last year, Apple added emergency SOS via satellite to its hardware line. This year, they've added a feature that's not so much off-road as down a lonely road. Building on this innovative satellite infrastructure, Apple says iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Plus introduce roadside assistance via satellite, starting in the States when a user has car trouble and cellular and Wi-Fi coverage are not available. They can now connect to AAA, the country's largest roadside assistance provider. An intuitive interface, including a short questionnaire to capture important details, will transmit the information via satellite so AAA can message with the user directly and dispatch help to their exact location. Like emergency satellite via SOS, the roadside thing is free for 2 years. No word on what it'll cost after that. Apple says service is covered according to AAA membership, but is also available separately for non-members. Apple says the 15 and 15 Plus come in 5 stunning new colors. If you'll allow me a moment to editorialize, I disagree. I got nothing against pink, yellow, green, blue, and black, but except for the black, they are just so muted. I hate the colors. I hate them. That said, I don't hate these phones. I think it's because they've moved on to the A16 Bionic. In doing so, it feels to me like they've changed the whole iPhone thing. Last year, iPhone 14, keeping the same A15 processor as the iPhone 13 the year before, felt icky. Like you're just buying last year's phone. This year, Apple has bounced some of the iPhone 14 Pro features like Dynamic Island and the A16 down to the device aimed at consumers in much the same way features for high-end Macs eventually make their way to machines like MacBook Air. Last year, iPhone 14 felt like the phone for people who couldn't afford iPhone 14 Pro. This year, it feels like you've got an actual choice. Of course, what you will really want is the iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max. Still sporting muted colors, which I still don't like. Apple's press release on iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max says those phones feature a strong and lightweight titanium design with new contoured edges, a new action button, powerful camera upgrades, and A17 Pro for next-level performance and mobile gaming. That action button is really interesting. Replacing the single-function ringer toggle, Apple says the action button brings built-in options like accessing the camera or the flashlight, activating voice memos, slipping into focus modes, and turning on or off various accessibility features. Or you can make your own, using shortcuts. Pretty clever. That said, as is often the case with the Pro phones, the camera tricks are the big seller. Thanks to the phone's machine learning, you don't have to take photos in portrait mode to apply portrait mode to photos. Also, you can change who's in portrait mode in a photo since you're doing it after the photo was taken anyway. Those periscope lenses are delivering at the high end. Apple says the new telephoto camera on iPhone 15 Pro Max has an innovative tetraprism design with a combined optical image stabilization and autofocus 3D sensor shift module, Apple's most advanced stabilization system yet. Okay, most of that means nothing to me, but sure look purty. I said earlier that we all knew all year that two things were going to happen with the iPhone 15 line. We all knew all year that the iPhone 15 line was getting USB-C, and we all knew all year that the price of the iPhone 15 line was going to go up. One of those things is not like the other. In the last few weeks, talk started circulating that prices for the consumer end of the line would stay the same, though prices for the Pro end would go up. Wait a minute, hold on, only the iPhone 15 Pro Max would see a price rise. On second, third, or fourth thought, the price of everything would go up after all, in an effort to make it easier for people to make the jump from the consumer end to the Pro end. Everybody was wrong. Kind of. Starting prices for iPhone 15, iPhone 15 Plus, and iPhone 15 Pro were the same as for the iPhone 14 line, like for like. That is to say, a 128GB iPhone 15 goes for the same $799 as last year's 128GB iPhone 14. A 128GB iPhone 15 Pro goes for the same $999 as last year's 128GB iPhone 14 Pro. And a 128GB iPhone 15 Pro Max does not exist. Which is why I say everybody was wrong. Kind of. The lowest capacity available for the iPhone 15 Pro Max is 256 gigabytes. That'll go for the same $1,199 as last year's 256 gigabyte iPhone 14 Pro Max. The big difference, last year's 14 Pro Max started at $1,099 for a 128 gigabyte model. There is no 128 gigabyte iPhone in the 15 Pro Max range. I'd be willing to bet that that is how Apple protected its margin on the Pro Max. We've heard over the past few weeks that the high price for the periscope lens for the 15 Pro Max would drive up the model's price. At the same time, I saw a couple of notes that said Apple would take advantage of the lower cost of memory today and keep prices on the consumer end the same. Apple has always charged a premium for stepping up storage costs. So rather than raising the price of the least expensive iPhone 15 Pro Max, why not just eliminate the 128 model, make 256 your starter phone, take advantage of the low cost of memory and the premium people are willing to pay, and let those factors more than cover the cost of the periscope lens? You can even justify moving to 256 gigabytes to the consumer because of all the super detailed pictures and spatial video with which they will be filling their iPhones. Because yeah, you're going to be able to shoot spatial video for Apple Vision Pro on iPhone 15 Pro Max. That reminds me, says Apple, we should probably do something about more iCloud storage too. Yeah, they did, and we'll get to it. First though, as far as availability, orders for the iPhone 15 line start this Friday, the 15th of September in more than 40 countries and regions, including India as a first-round region. They'll ship to buyers and land in stores the following Friday, the 22nd of September. Now about those heavier clouds. Well, the company said during the Wonderlust presentation that it added or was adding 6TB and 12TB storage options to iCloud Plus. It didn't say how much more those would cost. News came later through a few sites, including a report from 9to5Mac. According to that, the 6TB plan of iCloud Plus will be priced at $29.99 per month in the US. The 12TB plan costs twice as much at $59.99 per month. Kind of pricey, but sort of in keeping with what's out there already. The piece points out that the 2TB plan costs $9.99 per month. Multiply that by 3 and you get $29.97. Multiply it by 6 and you get $59.94. So, you're being hosed out of a few pennies per month, but pretty much in line, as I say. The piece points out that the higher storage iCloud Plus options come with the same features as lower tiers, including iCloud Private Relay, HomeKit Secure Video, the ability to share with up to 6 others under family sharing, and stuff like that. The new iCloud Plus storage capacities go live next Monday, the 18th of September. When do the new operating systems for systems new and old hit the mainstream? Apple did not say during the Wonderlust event, or if they did, I missed it, but word was repeated or came anew soon after. According to a piece from Cult of Mac, iOS 17, iPadOS 17, and watchOS 10 will make the scene next Monday, the 18th of September. The piece from 9to5Mac says tvOS 17 and version 17 of the HomePod software will also hit on the 18th. macOS Sonoma will trail a bit. The Cult of Mac piece I mentioned says the next operating system for the Mac will hit on Tuesday, the 26th of September. With less than a week on most of the OS updates, time for developers to put the finishing touches on their testing. To that end, another 9to5Mac report says Apple on Tuesday made release candidates of iOS and iPadOS 17, watchOS 10, and tvOS 17 available to developers. A lot of leaks ahead of Apple's Wonderlust event turned out to be really quite accurate. Among them were Apple's plans to drop leather from its iPhone case and Apple Watch band offerings, as well as a significant amount of eco-messaging during the event. On the leather, or lack thereof, CNET had Apple VP of Environment, Policy, and Social Initiatives, Lisa Jackson, saying during the presentation, "Leather is a popular material for accessories, but it has a significant carbon footprint. To reduce our impact, we will no longer use leather in any new Apple product, including watch bands, and that starts today." Replacing leather in the products, a textile created by the company called Fine Woven. In a press release on its push for carbon neutrality, Apple described Fine Woven as an elegant and durable twill made from 68% post-consumer recycled content. No leather, but a leather look and feel, according to the company. The release goes on to say Fine Woven offers a subtle luster and a soft, suede-like feel, and is available on iPhone MagSafe cases and wallets, as well as the magnetic link and modern buckle Apple Watch bands. Hermès and Apple are still thick as thieves. The luxury brand removed both Apple Watch and bands for the device from its online store earlier this week. Additionally, Apple sold its Hermès bands to employees at incredibly steep discounts over the past couple of weeks and sold out of most of them to consumers as well. All of that had some wondering whether Apple and Hermès were parting ways on the watch, and they have not. While Apple's push away from leather as part of its eco-friendliness did turn out to be true, at least where Apple is concerned, Hermès is going along. While the Wikipedia page for the luxury brand lists leather goods as the company's first specialty, a stroll around the Apple Watch Hermès page shows a lot of new bands with no leather involved. Under the heading Rich Heritage, boldly reimagined. The new bands are billed under such collections as Hermès knit, Hermès woven, and Hermès rubber. Nothing killed but your wallet. Prices run between $349 and $449. So after all of that, what say the analysts? As usual, I turn to Apple 3.0 for answers. Apple's announcements don't seem to have prompted any upgrades, downgrades, or price adjustments. Then again, the site's only caught notes from a few so far. Running through those, the note from KeyBank analyst Brandon Nispel reads as pretty unimpressed. While he saw lots of good for companies in Apple's supply chain, for Apple itself, Quoting his note, we see the September event as a modest negative for Apple, given a lack of expected price increases for the Pro model, features that lack a compelling motivation for consumers to upgrade, and modestly less aggressive promotions from carriers. While not particularly turned on, you couldn't really say he's turned off either. Nispel kept his overweight rating on Apple shares and his price target of $200. Sorted down about the pricing thing as well was Evercore analyst Amit Daryanani. He and his view the event as mildly disappointing given bulls were looking for a price increase on the iPhone Pro model. Again, though, the disappointment was not huge. He still got an outperform rating on Apple shares and a price target of $210. Moving more toward the positive, JP Morgan analyst Samik Chatterjee sees serious improvements in the iPhone line thanks to aggressive innovation on the underlying silicon and driving software features on improved chipset capabilities. He's also turned on by the ability of iPhone 15 Pro Max to record spatial video. As he puts it, the company is already slowly integrating AR and VR capabilities and building the ecosystem in order to drive more content to be consumed via the Apple Vision Pro and subsequent product launches. Want to guess the one thing that worries him? It's pricing, but it seems in a different way. If I'm reading his note right, he actually seems to be worried that the higher starting price for the iPhone 15 Pro Max will keep people away from that model. It'll be worth monitoring, in his estimation, though no need to sound any alarms. Chatterjee has an overweight rating on Apple shares and a 12-month price target of $230. Wedbush analyst Daniel Ives basically recaps some of the iPhone 15 Pro Max selling points. Faster performance from the A17 processor, improved battery life, new and improved camera technology, enhanced mobile gaming capabilities. He noted the pricing moves, or lack thereof, without negative judgment. That said, he sees a higher entry price for the iPhone 15 Pro Max as a smart strategic move, given its various advances. Ives has an outperform rating on Apple shares and a price target of $230. And finally, Deepwater analyst Gene Munster ran down a list of key takeaways. Hitting his top 3, the key selling point for iPhone 15 Pro is once again the camera. This year the camera improvement is seismic with the addition of spatial video. And iPhone 15 pricing remains unchanged, which is the right move to entice consumers to trade up to more expensive versions of the phone. Upbeat, but no rating and no price target. He's not that kind of analyst anymore. Still, in case you feel like ending such a note without either is unholy, let's say he has a Weibo Wicked Wowzers rating on Apple shares and a price target of about $1 bajillion or something. Have I left anything out? Tons! But we've only got so much time. The If Bend is still out there for you to see if you wanna. Available now as a podcast through Apple Podcasts. It's also still up on YouTube and on Apple's events page, apple.com/events. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and supported by people like you. patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macoscan.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOSCan. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.